Hey, what it do, sports spoiler? Welcome to the Real Untouchable podcast, man, with me, Ray Diggs, man. I'm about to go ahead and talk about after some crazy week one losses in 8-4A. Do I feel like Warren or Monticello, do I feel like they can bounce back? And also, can Hamburg get off to a big start, a fast start against McGee in week two, but it's their first game of the year? Man, let's go ahead and roll this thing up, man. We're about to go ahead and get this thing started, man, in the Real Untouchable podcast, man. So, hey, go ahead and we're about to go ahead and hit this thing right here, right now. Go ahead.
You are now rocking with the best. Debates get hot, boy. I am so many fresh. I talk cash money like I'm Birdman. Tackle topic straight on, no swerving. All facts is what I'm serving. No one's better or more deserving than me. I bring that heat like Miami on a whole nother level like Kamotani. I prove points by helping you visualize, using data that's analyzed by eagle eyes. Get your mind right and act like you know. You are now tuned into the Real Untouchable podcast.
Hey, what it do, sports? Welcome to the Real Untouchable podcast, man, with me, Ray Diggs. I got a great segment for you all, man. I want to talk about 8-4A, okay? Two teams who had a terrible week was Warren, the Lumberjacks, and Monticello, okay? Monticello had a big oh my God. Fordyce did a number on them. 8-3A, Fordyce Red Bugs pretty much dominated this game from start to finish. The one thing I can say about the Warren Lumberjacks was at least they started off fast. They was actually up in this game. They was up 19-7. And you think that it was going to be another one of those Bo Henry type of teams, one of those Bo Henry type of performance. But then it's like it was a meltdown. The Warren Lumberjacks, they pretty much fell behind. And I think Green Bear pretty much just allowed their run game to pretty much dominate this game en route to a 57-32 win. And let me tell y'all something, man. People been saying, that I was bashing Warren, but a lot of people that know me and watch this show, they know that I'm one of the biggest Warren Lumberjack fans. But I will say this right here, man. I think that Warren, if I had a panic meter, Warren or Monticello, 1 to 10 being the panic, okay, 10 being the highest, I would be right now with Warren. I would say they are maybe my panic is maybe a 1 or a 2. Monticello, on the other hand, I'm gonna say maybe a 5 or a 6. And the reason why is because I feel like Green Bay probably got one of the best running backs that I've seen. This kid came out here and put up 7 touchdowns, over 200 yards rushing. This kid right here can play. He is a PTP, a primetime player. Okay. When I'm watching him play, it's like he was getting at least 6 to 10 yards on every last carry. So it ain't no shame in losing against a 5A school. Now, I'm not saying it's some shame losing against Fordyce, because I've been watching Fordyce for the last couple of years, and Fordyce is a hell of a team. They ain't no Green Bear, though. I can tell you that. First of all, it's a 3A school. And Monticello, I think that Monticello, I don't know, they couldn't figure out what they wanted to do. Okay, it was a close game at first, and next thing you know, boom, pick six, and next thing you know, the game was blown open from that. But I think that both of these teams right here will possibly bounce back. Now, if you go back a couple weeks ago, you can see when I said that I feel like that these two teams right here, I think with Monticello goes to Hamburg for homecoming, I think that right there will pretty much decide the number 2 seed. Now, Hamburg gonna get Hamburg first game is this week. They get ready to play against McGee, the Owls, another 8-3A team. Now, this gonna tell me everything I need to know about Hamburg. This is what I think Hamburg really needs to do. I think Hamburg needs to come out there and they have to really show McGee that they should be on the field with them. Meaning, Nakia Lewis got to come out there and he got to be the bell cow running back that Hamburg feel like he can be. Caden Thomas, he got to be mistake-free. Play within the game. Play within the flow of the game. Hit the open receivers. Hey, you got at least one big receiver on one side, and then you got a very capable wide receiver on the other side, but they're really good receivers. So you got Brown. You got to use Brown. Honestly, I would definitely come out and I would start off by trying to get Brown into a rhythm. Get him into a rhythm. If you can get him into a rhythm, I honestly feel like that would open up the game for Nakia Lewis. And once you unleash Nakia Lewis, and then you want to hit him with a quarterback bootleg, fake it to the running back, and take Caden Thomas out wide, take him, so he can get a quarterback bootleg. And then I'm gonna tell you what that's gonna do. That's unlocking everything. That's unlocking everything for this game. Now the defense don't know what to do. I feel like Hamburg offense can put up at least, I'm gonna say, between 35 and 40 points in week 1 against this McGee Owl team. Now McGee is that's a rich tradition team. They are always good. Every single year they're always good. But I think that this right here is the year. I was telling some of I was on a podcast the other day, Southeast Arkansas podcast with some of my partners. And I was telling them that I feel like this is the one year that I think Hamburg can possibly challenge Warren. I feel like this is the one year that they can challenge him. Because why do I think that? It's because what did Greenberg have? They had a physical offensive line with a running back. What do Hamburg have? They have a physical offensive line with a running back. The only difference is Hamburg have a quarterback. If he goes out there and plays mistake-free and get the ball to his weapons, you don't have to be Superman. You don't. You got to get the ball to your weapons in the right positions for them to make plays for you. Get it out there to Brown. Let Brown catch a 5-yard pass and take it 40 yards. Okay? It's okay to hit him on a slant. Okay? Hit him on a post corner. Or just throw it up there. If you got a little receiver over there on him, a little cornerback over there on him, throw it up there. Let him go up there. And then that's gonna make the defense have to bag up off the line of scrimmage. Because I think the number one thing that I think McGee is gonna want to do is I think they're gonna want to come out there and stop Nakia Lewis. That's the number one thing. He's the bell cow. He's the guy. He had 2,000 yards rushing last season. So your game plan is gonna be based around him. So this right here, what Brown have to do, Kevion Brown have to do is he have to make them pay. You want to guard me one-on-one? I'm going to show y'all that you all cannot guard me one-on-one. And once he does that, that's going to bring the safety over to make the safety have to guard him. Now that's going to open up for the other wide receiver on the other side. And what do that open up as well? That opens up the quarterback bootleg. That opens up Caden Thomas if he wants to get back there and play around in the pocket a little bit and take off running every now and then. It opens up their entire Hamburg offense. That's going to be the recipe for success all season. If they can go out there and establish the run, to make or establish the pass and make the defense have to bag off that line of scrimmage. But I'm gonna tell you what I would do. I would come out there and I would put 8 to 9 in the box, and I'm gonna knock your loose. I'm stopping you. I hate to say it. I'd rather let them beat me, but I'm not letting that guy beat me. And that's what I think. That's what I think McGee is gonna do. But like I said before, I think Hamburg, they're gonna get this thing jumping. It's gonna tell me everything I need to know about 848. Now, I think that Warren is gonna bounce back this week. I think that Monticello would bounce back this week. Do I panic? No, I'm not gonna panic after week 1 because I know that both of these teams had big tasks in the first week. These right here, 2 teams, man, I'm gonna tell you something. You just don't play against a 5A school, and Greenberg is one of the best teams in 5A. Hell, Fordyce might be the best team. I think they have Salem like number 1, and I think Fordyce is like number 2 or number 3 in 3A. So it ain't like that they had a weak schedule. It ain't like that they played against some pushovers, and Fordyce dominated the line of scrimmage. Fordyce pretty much came out there and dominated the game from the start. They knew what they wanted to do. Cadillac Ellison, he was pretty much controlling everything, and that's what I think Caden Thomas have to do. Now, Caden Thomas, I'm gonna be honest. When I watch Caden Thomas play, he's smaller than Cadillac Ellison, but I think he's more talented than them. If you understand what I'm saying, I think he's a more talented because he's faster. First of all, he's faster than him. He's gotten taller, so I think that he's more physical. He's more dynamic because he's faster than him, because he runs track as well. Cadillac is out there running no track, especially the way he be moving. So So, but hey, no disrespect to Cadillac, you're a hell of a player as well. But when it comes down to it, I think that Caden Thomas is a better quarterback when it comes down to what Hamburg need him to do. But Cadillac Ellison do everything that Fordyce need him to do. I'm talking about they're gonna run the wing team, they're gonna give the ball. You don't know who getting the ball. What they do is they want to chew up the ball. See, Fordyce don't get out of what they normally do. They're gonna run the wing team. They're gonna run it down your throat, get first down. Then they might hit the deep for a long touchdown, something like that. But that's why I said when I watched them play against Bismarck in the state playoffs last year, Bismarck got off to a quick lead on Fordyce, and that's right there forced Fordyce to not be able to do what they wanted to do. So Monticello could never do that. Monticello was pretty much playing a basic game. They was going within their offense. But I think that once Monticello figure it out, I think that they'll be one of the top 2, 3 teams in 8-4A. It just was a rough week. That's all it was. Same thing I can say about Warren. It was a rough week for both of these teams. But I expect for both of these teams to bounce back. But I also expect for Hamburg to bounce back as well. I mean, Hamburg to get that thing jumping in the first week against McGee. But what if Hamburg loses against McGee? I'm gonna be honest. Hamburg comes out here and loses against McGee. I'm gonna be disappointed because when I made my pick for Hamburg to finish number 2 behind the Warren Lumberjacks, this was the one thing that I said. I said Hamburg got to win the winnable game. What do I mean by winnable games? Now, I'm gonna go through Hamburg schedule real quick, and I'm gonna tell y'all the games that I say Hamburg have to win the winnable game. Hamburg this week they play against McGee. They have to win the winnable games. Okay, let's look at it. They play McGee. Who they play next? They play Doom. Okay, who they play next? They play Magnolia. Now it ain't no shame. Now Magnolia is a pretty good team. Magnolia is a pretty good team. So that I'm gonna have to circle that game there. And then they play against Monticello. But after they play against Monticello, they play against Central. Hold on, let me look at that full schedule. They play against Central, then they play against Warren, and then I'm gonna be honest, Hamburg's last 4 games is very winnable games. You got at CrossFit, which is probably gonna be I can already tell you that score. That's probably gonna be 40, 50 to nothing right there. Matter of fact, I'm gonna go ahead and put that right there I'm gonna go ahead and put that score down. I know that game ain't till when? October 17th. But I'm gonna go ahead and put that down September 2nd. That they're gonna beat CrossFit about. Man, just throw up a score. Throw it up. 60-0. I'm just gonna say it's gonna be 50-0. They'll beat CrossFit 50-0. And that's only because they're gonna run the clock after about 35-0. Once they get that 35 point, once they get to 35-0, they'll go ahead and start running the clock. That's the only reason why Hamburg won't be able to score more against CrossFit, but they go to CrossFit. So I expect for that right there to be a blowout. Then they play Star City, then they play at DeWitt. Now that's gonna be a hard game. That's gonna be a tough one. And then they play Stuttgart. My partners on the Southeast Arkansas Sports, they got a lot of confidence in Stuttgart. I just don't have a lot of confidence in Stuttgart. They said that Stuttgart had a hell of a quarterback. I'm going to have to do a little bit more research because I ain't never heard of their quarterback before like that. I ain't want to tell them that, but I did. But I'll do a little bit more research tonight and I'll find out how good that quarterback is. So when I look at Hamburg's schedule, they got McGee this week. That needs to be a win. They need to beat Doom. That Magnolia game is a toss-up, and it's going to come down to the Monticello game. Then if they play Central at Central, then they play against Warren. Warren is that they play Warren at home. Okay. Then they play CrossFit, Star City, DeWitt, and Stuttgart. I can say Hamburg record at worst 7-3. At best, 9-1. That's just my opinion. I think 9-1 is their best case scenario. 7-3 is the worst case scenario. That means that they loses against Magnolia, Warren, possibly DeWitt or Monticello, one of those two. I can say this team right here should not lose more than 3 games. That's just my opinion. Okay. And then when I go to Warren, the Lumberjacks, as they get ready, Warren is one of those teams that I got so much confidence in them. I feel like Bo Henry, like I said, I was telling them on the podcast, I feel like Bo Henry can outcoach everybody. Now, this week they play against Whitehall. I'm going to go ahead and put that down as a win. I think they'll win that game. Okay? I think they'll win that game. Okay? They play against Washington Chapel. I think they'll beat Washington Chapel. Then they come down to DeWitt and then Monticello. So Warren got a hell of a schedule just to start off the season. Okay? Because they played DeWitt, Monticello, and Hamburg in back-to-back-to-back weeks. So I'm going to be honest. I think Bo Henry it's kind of like how I got another podcast coming up later that I got to talk about college football. It's the same thing that I said about Alabama. It's the same thing I'm going to say about Warren. It's very pivotal for this team because after Whitehall and after Washington Chapel, Warren is going to play against DeWitt, Monticello, and Hamburg. Those are going to be the biggest games right there. If they win those 3 games right there, Warren is going to win the conference with just those 3 games because the last 4 games, Star City, Stuttgart, Central, and Crossett, I think even if they don't have the better team, I think Bo Henry will outcoach any one of those coaches. So I think that they'll possibly win those 4 games. I think that when I look at this Lumberjack team, the best case scenario for them is 8-2. I say that 8-2 is their best case scenario. They could possibly finish 9-1, but their worst case scenario could be 7-3. Just like Hamburg, I think these teams right here, it's going to be a battle in 8-4. I'm going to be honest with you. That's what we talked about on the podcast the other night. It's going to be a battle. And also make sure y'all tune in next week. I'm going to have special guests, man. My partners, they're going to come on here and we're going to do a podcast together, man, on the Real Untouchable podcast. Hey, I ain't gonna lie, I had so much fun, man, talking to them. They're true Central fans. They're Monticello fans. I think we had like a Warren fan. So, man, I'm going to be honest, man. It was a hell of a podcast. They'll be on here next week. I think it should be like Saturday or Sunday. We're going to schedule it for. And then, hey, we're going to do our podcast and do our pick for next week's game. So, but, and then when I go, like I said, Warren, Monticello, these 2 teams right here, if Warren comes out here and win this week, they're going to have to run the table. They're going to have to beat Whitehall and Washington Chapel. Then I think Warren had a swag game going into the DeWitt game because DeWitt is at home. And Warren, I'm going to be honest, they don't lose conference games out. And then they go to Monticello. Now, that's right there going to be a showdown. So this right here, what I'm saying, this right here is why, just listen to this. Before I get off, I just want to say this. On September 26th, it's going to be a crazy, crazy Friday night for 4 teams in 8-4. DeWitt, Warren and DeWitt will play. Warren and DeWitt will play. And Monticello and Hamburg will play. So depending on who wins this game, depending on who wins those 2 games right here, I think they'll be probably at number 1 and number 2 in 8-4A. And then, as you know, like I said before, then Hamburg will be getting ready for the Warren Lumberjack game. So it's going to, man, dude, I'm so excited about 8-4A, man. Like this right here is going to be a really, really big year for 8-4A. I'm picking 2 teams out of 8-4A to get to at least the 3rd round of, depending on how they do the schedule, depending on how they do it, the playoff brackets. I'm expecting for at least 2 8-4A teams to get to the 3rd round of the playoffs. I'm just excited, man. Like I said before, I'm not gonna panic. Y'all shouldn't panic after the week 1 losses by Warren and Monticello. And I think Hamburg is gonna start this thing off with a bang. So make sure y'all tune in next week, man, to the Real Untouchable podcast, man. Hey, it's gonna be a great season, y'all. Until next time, y'all.